That was horrible. That was the worst thing I've ever seen. Okay, what we're going to do here is photosynthesis, and it's not terribly complicated. It does require something. It requires an organelle called the chloroplast, and as a rule of thumb, I'd say about 80% of the time, if something is green, it is capable of doing photosynthesis. A question that almost everybody gets wrong, though, is if it's green and it can do photosynthesis, it could probably also do respiration with mitochondria. So that's oxygen. Okay, so in order to run photosynthesis, you need two things. You need light, which you get from the sun or a lamp or something along those lines. And then you also need electrons. Now those electrons are not quite as straight as forward, but you're going to get those from water. You're going to end up with O2 and H+. But those electrons are going to go through a little wire in the chloroplast's membrane. And what they're going to do is power a pump. That pump is going to generate H+ ions. Nope, wrong place. H+ ions in the chloroplast until you have a concentration gradient. That's a very, very high concentration gradient. When that concentration gradient is generated, you can take those H+'s, spin a turbine in the membrane. That turbine will push ADP and phosphate together and generate ATP. Now, you can run this without glucose. So ATP, if you think of it as a small AAA battery, is actually unstable and it will break down. So this is not a good storage molecule. Cells have generated the ability to take a storage molecule that is much more efficient and take the energy from ATP and store it in that. So what you do is you take ATP, you dump the energy into NADP, or sorry, you dump out the energy. You take some CO2 and some water, and from that you generate glucose, which is why a lot of plants taste sweet. So again, from the beginning, you need sun and electricity, or electrons, to run this wire, which powers a pump. The pump generates a concentration gradient, which then can power the ATP synthase, which is very similar to the one in the mitochondrial membrane, and that puts ATP together. However, that ATP is unstable, so the cell generates this reaction, which is sometimes called the dark reaction because it doesn't require light. It doesn't just happen in the dark, nor is glucose, energy, CO2, H2O, any of those things actually dark. I don't know what color they are, but you can put them together, that energy specifically, into glucose, and then we end up eating the plant, and we end up breaking it down and generating ATP from it. And it's a big, lovely cycle, and everybody's happy. That's it.